business leader, political activist, philanthropist. These are all descriptions of Meg Whitman, one of the most successful business executives in the world today. Since 2011, she's been president, CEO, and/or chairman of Hewlett Packard. And since 2015, she's been the CEO and president of Hewlett Packard Enterprise and chairman of Hewlett Packard, chairman of HP Inc. Board of Directors. As someone who knows her from serving on that board at HP Inc., I can tell you, no one just shows up and becomes president, CEO, and chairman of one of the world's most important corporations. In a business world overwhelmingly run by men, Meg Whitman has earned every accolade and has repeatedly demonstrated the benefit of pursuing new and unexpected challenges. Having been an accomplished high school student athlete, Meg set her sights on becoming a physician when she enrolled at Princeton just a few years after women were first admitted. But a summer spent selling magazine advertising revealed her true calling. This drove her to pursue her bachelor's degree in economics and then an MBA from Harvard. Meg's path from there is meteoric. She joined Procter & Gamble, where she worked with Steve Case, who later founded AOL. She took a position with Bain & Company, where she rose to senior vice president, and along the way worked with Mitt Romney, who would later become governor of Massachusetts and compete for the presidency of the United States. Meg then served as an executive with Disney, StrideRite, FTD, and Hasbro before taking the helm of a fledgling company that made her a household name. Auction Web is probably not the name you were expecting. But under 10 years of her leadership, Meg Whitman grew Auction Web into a multi-billion-dollar global phenomenon now known as eBay that has revolutionized the way humanity trades goods. Not content to rest on her laurels, Meg started a charitable foundation that has focused much of its giving on addressing global warming and ecosystem restoration. She has also dabbled in politics, running an historic campaign for governor of California in 2010. In fact, the New York Times singled her out as one of the women most likely to become the first female president of the United States. Since 2011, Meg has worked tirelessly at Hewlett Packard Company and Hewlett Packard Enterprise after their historic split in 2015. I give you the person Forbes magazine named the 20th most powerful woman in the world, Meg Whitman.
Well, President Suresh, members of the class of 2017, members of the faculty, distinguished guests, fellow recipients of honorary degrees, families of the graduating class, ladies and gentlemen, it's a true honor to be with you today. And it's a great privilege to receive an honorary Doctor of Business Practice degree. And I am grateful to be earning my degree in a lot less time and with a lot fewer all-nighters than it took many of you to earn yours. To the parents of the graduating class of 2017, it is a magnificent and memorable day when your child graduates from college. It certainly is a wonderful day for you. And I'm guessing that for many of you parents, it's a pretty good day for your wallets as well. Congratulations for having traveled this journey with your children. A journey that began not with their enrollment at this university, but at the moment of their birth. Whether your children fully realize it or not, whether they have fully expressed it to you or not, and they will, they would not be here today without your love and support and encouragement along the way. So congratulations to the parents. Most important to the class of 2017, congratulations. Graduating from college is an impressive achievement, but especially graduating from one of the leading universities in the world, an institution characterized by high standards and excellence, one that has produced winners of Nobel Prizes and Turing, Tony, Emmy, and Academy Award winners. Carnegie Mellon University has prepared you for a life of purpose and meaning. And there are people and moments you will never forget, including, I understand, the Spring Carnival, which includes what I gather are some pretty amazing amusement park rides, booths, and buggy races. To bagpiping, which the school has made into an art form, and to my personal favorite, the band without pants. A tradition unique to Carnegie Mellon, and I'm confident I can say one you are unlikely to encounter in your first full-time job. You are graduating at a moment of great challenge for our nation, when our country will decide on matters having to do not with just commerce, but conscience. Not just what we will gain, but what we will give. Not just with our military power, but with our deepest ideals. This is hardly the most difficult moment in American history. I believe you can safely argue that the Civil War, 2 world wars, and the Great Depression have us beat by a long shot. You are a blessed generation in so many ways, with opportunities unimaginable to past generations, and gratitude is one of the hallmarks of a fulfilled life. But every life has hardships. Every generation faces obstacles. And we are in the midst of a profoundly important moment in the political and civic life of America. The challenges today are more from within than without. And I believe this is a moment that, if we do not handle it well, could produce harmful effects on my generation and on yours, and on generations yet unborn. The stakes are that serious. So today I want to speak about some disturbing trends in our national life. Trends that need to be challenged by people of both genders, every class, race, and ethnic background, of every political party and ideology, but most especially by young people, who are not only inheritors of the future, but will do so much to shape it. The first disturbing trend I want to mention is the attack on truth. There are many people these days, including people at the highest level in public life, who use lies to devalue truth. Those who are part of this effort like describing what's happening euphemistically, using phrases like alternative facts. But we know better. To paraphrase Shakespeare's Juliet, a lie by any other name is still a lie. What is so striking is the brazenness and rapidity of the lies and their purpose, which is to delegitimize sources of information hostile to those in power. The lies tumble down like rocks in an avalanche. They are not subtle. They are overt, obvious, and part of a conscious effort. Language is being employed not to reveal reality, but to obscure it. Not to simply mislead people, but to disorient them, to assert power over truth, in an effort to deconstruct it. So here's why this should matter to you. If we do not share a common reality, we can't reason together. Truth creates restraints on power. If we allow those with power to control the very idea of truth itself, then we cannot identify and stand against injustice. And if we can't identify injustice, then we cannot replace it with concepts like equality under law, respect, decency, compassion, and justice itself. A great university is always enlisted against the spread of illusion and on the side of reality, said President Kennedy. And that is the essence of your calling as graduates of a great university. My encouragement to you is to be women and men who stand for truth, who spend your life in search of it, even if you never fully know it, who believe in inquiries, in facts, in objective reality, and who have the courage to speak truth to power, even when there may be a cost to doing so. If you are defenders of truth in an age marked by lies, it will have a liberating effect on our fellow citizens and make more possible all good things in life. A second truth that needs to be confronted is the attack on free speech. In the last several years, we have seen a powerful movement, one that seeks to shut down free speech, gain traction in the academy. The very institutions that were created in order to allow for the free exchange of ideas. On some campuses, we've seen certain speakers not invited. On others, they've been shouted down. And on still others, we are witnessing violence. Now, I understand this kind of thing isn't happening on most American campuses, but it's happening in too many places, and it needs to end. But there's something else going on as well. College students are increasingly demanding protection from words and speech they find offensive. We hear a lot about trigger warnings and safe spaces, which are designed to protect students from viewpoints that they might find upsetting and unsettling. Here's why I think this is problematic. For one thing, I don't think most of you want to be treated like porcelain dolls. And now that you are college graduates, the rest of the world, and certainly the business world, won't treat you that way. So no one is doing college students any favors when they intellectually isolate them. But the issue extends beyond the walls of the academy and matters whether or not you ever step foot on a campus again. For while many of you are about to complete your formal education, you will spend a lifetime continuing to learn, gathering and processing new information, and dealing with people with different life experiences and points of view. Shutting down free speech, insulating ourselves from hearing competing points of view, is the equivalent of injecting poison into the bloodstream of our republic. John Stuart Mill, in his 1859 classic, On Liberty, put it as well as anyone ever has, and I quote, "He who knows only his own side of the case knows little of that," Mill wrote. His reason may be good, and no one may have been able to refute them. But if he is equally unable to refute the reasons on the opposite side, if he does not so much as know what they are, he has no ground for preferring either opinion. Mill went on to say this, "Nor is it enough that he should hear the opinions of adversaries from his own teachers, presented as they state them and accompanied by what they offer as refutations. He must be able to hear from persons who actually believe them. He must know them in their most plausible and persuasive form." So my encouragement to you is to be the men and women who stand up for free speech, who welcome debate, who model for others what genuine dialogue is, and who are not afraid to have your beliefs challenged. Too many of us live in intellectual silos, where we seek out people and information that simply reinforces our existing opinions. Venture out of those silos. We are better when we are exposed to different ideas and competing philosophies. Learn to listen in order to understand others, not just to respond to them, and remain open to the possibility that you may have something to learn from others. Be the generation that embodies real tolerance, genuine inquiry, and authentic open-mindedness. It is what this nation desperately needs during this fractured and fractious time. The third trend that needs to be confronted is the attack on civility. We live in an age of escalating incivility. We see it all around us, on our roads, in airwaves, in sports stadiums, and on social media, and in politics. The problem has gotten worse recently, with those running for high public office mocking reporters and demeaning opponents with childish names or worse. It seems that no words, no matter how hurtful or cruel to others, are considered inappropriate. We are fostering the conditions in which we view others not as opponents, but enemies. We're treating one another as subhuman, and that's a terribly dangerous line to cross. Civility is more than nice manners. It's a precondition of democratic dialogue, in the words of Professor Stephen L. Carter of Yale Law School. Civility is part of the, quote, etiquette of democracy, unquote. It allows for genuine social interaction. It's been said that the true genius of Martin Luther King Jr. was not his ability to argue the pain of an oppressed people, but his ability to inspire those very people to be loving and civil in their dissent. We should treat each other with civility not because we agree with others, but because it is a measure of our respect for human dignity. It's what we owe all people, including those with whom we have fierce disagreements. Our institutions, our culture, our communities cannot be sustained, let alone thrive, if civility is eroded. It is an essential democratic virtue. Kingman Brewster, a former president of Yale, said, quote, "The presumption of innocence is not just a legal concept. In commonplace terms, it rests on the generosity of spirit, which assumes the best, not the worst, of a stranger." So my encouragement to you is to be the women and men who embody civility, who demonstrate a generosity of spirit in an ungenerous time, and who assume the best, not the worst, of the stranger, of those you do not know, people whose life experiences are different than yours, and who may see the world in a dramatically different way than you do. In doing so, you will make us a more decent and just society. This country desperately needs the skills you have developed during your years at Carnegie Mellon. But it needs something more than your skills. It needs your ideals. You leave this great university as better men and women than when you arrived. More knowledgeable and better educated, I'm sure, but I trust wiser and more hopeful. There's a beautiful line by William Wordsworth in his poem, The Prelude, in which he says, quote, "What we have loved, others will love, and we will teach them how." The faculty at CMU has taught you what to know and love, and now it is your turn to teach others what you have come to know and love. I wish you all a life of joy and purpose, of success and fulfillment, and congratulations to the great class of 2017. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Meg, thank you for your thoughtful and sobering remarks. We're not only inspired by your words, but also motivated by your example. It's been an honor to have you as our keynote speaker. Thank you again, Meg. Please join me once again in thanking Meg Whitman.